There's some hot news coming for Texas Longhorns fans, and it just came out and is already causing a stir. Steve Sarkisian made a direct call to Arch Manning right at the end of preseason, and the details of that statement could say a lot about what the coach expects from his quarterback. So like this video now, because if you're a Longhorns fan, this information is important to understand what Arch might be missing to take the next leap. And of course, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications, because here we follow everything closely about the Texas Longhorns. Arch Manning is about to enter his second season as the full-time starting quarterback for Texas, and the expectations on him remain enormous. It couldn't be otherwise. We're talking about a player who arrived in college football surrounded by one of the highest expectations a quarterback can carry. The Manning surname already puts enormous pressure on him, but Arch has also shown on the field that he has enough talent to be considered one of the great names in college football. And that's precisely why Steve Sarkisian's statement is drawing so much attention. According to information released by Tyler Horka of On3, Sarkisian stated that he would like to see Arch a little more energized and a little more sharp in this final stretch of preparation. And note, this does not mean that the coach is saying that Arch is doing badly or that there is some major problem with the quarterback. Quite the contrary. The demand seems to be related to getting that extra level out of Arch that can make a difference when the season really begins. And honestly, I think that's a very interesting demand. Because when we look at Arch Manning's talent, it's hard to find any obvious physical limitations. He has arm strength, he can put speed on the ball, he has the ability to make touch passes, and he also demonstrates a precision that allows him to find targets in different parts of the field. In other words, the tools are there. The big challenge now is to transform all this potential into consistency. Sarkisian made it clear that he liked Arch's week of training and considered that he played very efficiently, but he also admitted that during Saturday's performance, he expected a little more from him at the beginning. In the coach's assessment, Arch started a little inefficiently but managed to finish very well. And that part, for me, is fundamental. Because we're not talking about a coach who went around blasting his quarterback. Sarkisian, in fact, seems to be trying to adjust small details of a player who is already at a very high level of expectation. The message is practically this: you already have the talent. Now we need to increase the intensity, the energy, and the precision of the execution. And if Arch manages to do that, the impact can go far beyond the quarterback himself. Texas enters the season again with extremely high expectations. The team wants to build on the good performance shown previously, and Arch will be one of the main faces of this campaign. When the starting quarterback raises the level of energy and execution, it can infect the rest of the offense and even change the posture of the entire team. And there is another detail that makes this story even more interesting. Arch Manning won't have to do everything alone. Texas has an extremely talented offense and gained another important weapon with the arrival of Cam Coleman. We're talking about another explosive option for a group that already had a lot of talent. For a quarterback like Arch, having players capable of turning passes into big plays can be a huge advantage. So imagine the scenario. Arch manages to play with more intensity from the start of games, maintains accuracy throughout the game, makes quick decisions, and uses all the weapons that the Texas offense offers. If that happens, it becomes very difficult not to place Manning among the main candidates for the Heisman Trophy. And that's exactly the size of the expectation surrounding him. Arch already appears among the most quoted names for the award, and there's a reason for that. The natural talent is there, the structure around him is also there, the coach believes in him, and now the demand is to transform that potential into an even more consistent performance. In my opinion, I don't see Sarkisian's statement as something negative for Arch Manning. On the contrary, I see it as a demonstration that the coach believes Arch can deliver much more. If Sarkisian were concerned about the technical level of the quarterback, the conversation would be completely different. But what he seems to be demanding is energy, intensity, and sharper execution. That's something that can evolve quite a bit during a season. And perhaps it's precisely that small adjustment that separates a good quarterback from a